Yo, what up? You know what it is, man. It's Boogie Balboa right here for XII Church. Salute to Warren and Ashley for allowing me to share my heart on this platform. We are here joining in the conversation on the Beatitudes series. And so I am just going to sit down and share with you a little bit of my heart on this. Now, here we are in downtown Phoenix, Arizona at the Churchill. Let me say this. I don't believe that this place was named after Winston Churchill, but Winston Churchill had a quote and it went something like this: "Success is going from failure to failure without a loss of enthusiasm." Today I get to preach on Matthew chapter 5, verse 6. It says this: "Blessed are they that hunger and thirst after righteousness, for they shall be filled." Listen, there was a ton of people that were at the Sermon on the Mount, but Jesus was preaching specifically to the disciples. There were people there that were getting inside information. So this message right here is for us. This message right here is for the believers, so that we can check ourselves, not so that we can check the boxes of what we think Christianity is, but that we can actually check ourselves to be the light, to show the character that we were called to show as believers. Follow me, follow me. This Matthew chapter 5, verse 6 in the Beatitudes, this is what I call the shift in the Beatitudes. This is what I believe is where the change comes in. Now, I heard Warren say that you guys weren't following or sharing these Beatitudes in line, but it doesn't matter, because before verse 6, we just needed to understand just how much we needed God. But after verse 6, we find out how we need to find grace in seeking God. Let me read another quote. I read this the other day somewhere, and it just said, "Stay hungry. Having hunger means that you will be better on a daily basis." Having hunger. Having hunger means that you have this insatiable desire that grows until it's satisfied. Being hungry is uncomfortable. Being hungry is something that you can't ignore. But also being thirsty needs to be quenched. Unfortunately, we're constantly looking for our hunger and our thirst to be quenched outside of the things of Christ. We're looking for our hunger to be fulfilled through fancy cars and shaking it fast for the gram. We get so excited about trying to fill our lives with so many different things, but none of those things will fill that void, that hole that is in our heart that screams for the desire for Christ. Jesus is the only thing that can fill that void. Here's a story, because this is where it's going to get a little bit different. There was a water bearer, and he had two large pots. You may have heard this story. It's extremely popular. And he would get these pots and he would put them on a pole across his back. One of the pots, perfect, and the other pot cracked. He would walk these pots down to the river every day. He would fill them up with water to take up to his master's house. As he would get there, he would unload one pot and unload half of the other pot. For 2 years, he would go back down to the river and he would fill up the pot. He would unload one pot and unload half of the other pot. You see, the other pot had a crack in it. And one day, the pot spoke to the water bearer and said, "I am so sorry. I'm sorry for all of the work that you do. Yet, I cannot fulfill my purpose." The water bearer said, "What do you mean?" He said, "Because of my flaw, because of my crack, I'm not able to bring the full amount of water. I'm only bringing in half of the amount of water." The water bearer said, "Do me a favor. Next time we go back down to the river, notice all of the flowers along the path as we come back." The pot was coming, or the water bearer went back down to the river and he filled up each pot. And as they were coming back, the pot began to spill water. And he did notice the flowers, and he did see the sun begin to shine on these beautiful flowers. And when they got to the master's house, the water bearer said, "Did you see the flowers?" And the pot said, "Yeah, I saw the flowers." But what good is that? I still only brought half of the water. He said, you see, I noticed your flaw 2 years ago. And what I did was I took sunflower seeds and I put them on your side of the path, knowing that you would water those seeds. And because of your flaw, because of the crack in your pot, because you had the opportunity to water these seeds, beautiful flowers grew. And from those flowers, I was able to pick these flowers and decorate the table of our master so that he could see something beautiful on a regular basis. The moral of that story is that each of us has our own unique flaw. We're all just a bunch of crackpots. We're all just a bunch of crazy people that are looking for something to fill this emptiness in our life. There's certain areas in our life that are uncertain on a regular basis, but somehow we're able to turn our flaws into something great in the eyes of the Master. We turn our flaws into blessings that other people need to witness. The phrase hunger and thirst for righteousness to some seems to mean to attain or to obtain perfection, or to shoot for perfection in the eyes of God. But our appetite must be for righteousness, right standing with the spring of living water, so he can flow through me. And my hunger must be so tenacious enough that I don't stop chasing a closer lifestyle to that of Christ. But the beauty in all of that is that my failures will produce beautiful flowers. I want my crack pot to be everything that God wanted it to be. I want my beauty to not come from perfection, but to come from my imperfection. I don't think that being hungry and thirsty for righteousness means that every day I get up and follow every single one of the 10 commandments, because not one of us can do that. But I think that following righteousness means that every single day I find my flaw and I produce my beauty so that somebody else can see the Lord working in me, so that they can see the river of living water flowing through me, so that my heart can actually show somebody. Let me stop right there. John chapter 4 talks about the woman at the well. Very popular story. And when Jesus was talking to the woman at the well, he said to her, I know who you are. He was getting ready to read her mail. He said, I know you've had 5 husbands, and I know that the man you're with right now is not your husband. But here's what I know, that my worshipers, he took the time to talk to this lady who in our eyes would seem to be ridiculously flawed, but he said, my people will worship me in spirit and in truth. He knew who she was. He could see her heart, even though she might have felt flawed. And even then she told him, well, the Messiah is coming back. So when he gets here, he's going to clear it all up. And Jesus said, I am he. I am here. I am the Messiah. A time is coming that my people will worship in spirit and truth. A time is coming that my crackpots will actually find beauty, or will actually produce beauty with their righteousness, with their imperfection, with their cracks. Jesus is talking to us during the Sermon on the Mount. Blessed are the poor, we need God. Blessed are the meek, we need God. But blessed are those that hunger and thirst for righteousness, means that we run after God. Means that we are actually being filled with God, so that in my everyday walk, in my everyday struggle, in my everyday failure, I produce beauty. My success comes. Being a crackpot does not disqualify us from being filled. And our crackpots does not disqualify us from being righteous. There's anxiety in this world, and there's depression that is overrun in this world today. But I'm telling you right now that if you are feeling those things, if you don't feel like you're enough, the Lord wants to use your beauty. He wants to show your beauty. He wants to read your mail. He wants to tell you that, hey, regardless of who you think you are today, that my worshipers will worship in spirit and in truth. And if you just look for me, If you just draw nigh unto me, I promise I'm coming running for you. Your clap is my beauty. I died so that you could produce that beauty. I think that it's time that we would switch focus. I think it's time that we would become so hungry to be what God called us to be that we stop turning people away from Him. That we stop being so ugly as believers and judging and pushing others away, but that we would compel them to come. That our hunger and thirst not be only about us, but that our hunger and thirst be so beautiful that it draws everybody to the things of Christ. I want to become a beacon for what being filled and what being whole looks like. I want to be real. I want to be relevant. I want to be righteous. So, love y'all.